Hello, everybody. Welcome to our 6th week together for tea at the Ritz. It's 4 o'clock. It's Monday, and here we are back again all together. I don't know about you, but I think it is slowly dawning on me that this is a marathon, not a sprint. I think when the whole thing started, there was a sense of, oh, well, just a few weeks, we can get through this. I still think we can get through it, but it's not going to be just a few weeks. And it's now quite hard to see how exactly we are going to come out of the situation that we're in without considerable changes to how we would normally behave. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm finding that from time to time, things that would normally not affect me particularly profoundly are affecting me quite a lot, which is the one sign that I've got that I'm not completely as I would normally expect to be. I'll give you a couple of examples of that. Last week, I was making one of these videos and it was actually for Friday, the quiz video. And at the end of it, I quoted that poem, and on Thursday we all clap. And I decided to end it with a little story that I'd heard on Woman's Hour about some of the fear and anxiety for nurses going onto the ward. And as I got to that bit, I could feel my eyes filling up with tears, and I couldn't finish the video because I'd actually started to become very upset. I very nearly sent that video out on Friday because I thought, oh well, people will understand that this is a genuine emotion and emotional response. But at the same time, I thought there's no way I can finish Friday with a video with all of you thinking that I'm having some kind of breakdown, which I definitely was not. So that was one thing that happened. So I remade the video with a slightly more upbeat ending. And the other thing that happened was I had a slight spat, and call it nothing more, with my daughter Anna, who I think you know works with me. And she said something which normally, honestly, would just... And I just reacted to it so badly, so much so that I grabbed my keys and went outside and just walked around the streets around where I live for about half an hour, and I came back, I was fine. Calm down. So this whole thing about the emotions being quite close to the surface and perhaps us responding in a way that's not normal, I think we have to take account of that. What I thought I'd do today, I hope you're going to find it useful and enjoy it. I've just been thinking along the lines of, yes, we are all in this together, for sure, but we're not all in the same situation as each other. And that is actually throwing up some very marked differences between how people are coping. So I've put together this, it's a kind of questionnaire. It's the sort of thing you get in magazines. Are you more like A, B or C? So it's like that. And I've just considered 12 different things within being in lockdown that are different from one person to another. So I'm just going to read those out, and what I want you to do is, perhaps with a pen and paper, be marking down whether the answer that I'm reading out, A, B or C, is closest to your situation. And then at the end you can see whether you're mostly A's, mostly perhaps a mixture of A's and B's, or mostly B's or whatever. And I'll give you what I think the things to be aware of are, depending on whether, as I said, your answers are mostly A, B or C. So let's start with personality. Then there's no question that for some people, lockdown, because of their personality, is excruciating, and for others it's actually quite easy. And this is about whether you're an introvert or an extrovert. So let's start with the A's. So you are an introvert. So you really love being on your own and you feel no particular need to be surrounded by others. So if that's true for you, then you'll write down A. B, you are a sociable introvert. You like time alone, which is good, for a while, but so is seeing family and friends for a few hours. So you sort of have a balance between really liking being on your own quite a lot, but at the same time really loving that contact that you have with meaningful people in your life. So that would be B. And C, you're an extrovert. So your whole life revolves around socialising, chatting and being in groups of people. So for you, social isolation of the sort that we've got at the moment is fairly excruciating. So would you say you were A, the complete introvert, B, the sort of sociable introvert, or C, the extrovert who absolutely hates being away from other people? So the next category is who you live with. So do you A, live with the love of your life with whom you have a close and loving relationship? So you're in the house with somebody that whose company you love and whose person you love and always have done. And as I said, he. I'm assuming it's a male partner. Your other half is your soulmate. So that's A. Or are you B? You live happily alone and enjoy the control this gives you. This would be me. I'm pretty happy living on my own, and I love the fact that I don't have to consider another person in the choices that I make. I've got 4 categories for this. So are you B, or are you C, the person to whom you have been married a long time? That's who you're with, and you rub along, but you need time and space to pursue your own interests. So are you with somebody like that? You're fine most of the time, but you definitely need time apart. Or are you D, with someone who annoys you and whose company you no longer enjoy? So that's the sort of, pretty much the worst of all possible worlds, isn't it? That you're trapped indoors with somebody that you really don't want to be with. So the next category is where you live. So are you A, in a really beautiful place or part of the country surrounded by large, open, easily accessible spaces for walks and outings? So have you on your doorstep, literally within walking distance, a lot of lovely, beautiful countryside and things to see? Or are you B, in a town, but with quick and easy access to green space and parks, etc.? So yes, you are in a more urban environment, but you can get out to nice places. Or are you C, in a built-up urban area, at least a car's ride away from anything green and pleasant in which to spend time? So what's around you where you live? Those 3 potential categories. What's the nearest for you? The next one, the house you live in. So are you A, in a large house and garden with place to get away from others if needs be, and lots of outside space to escape into whenever possible? So are you lucky to have lots and lots of personal space around you in the house and garden that you have? Or are you B, in a reasonable sized house and garden with some opportunities for privacy and quiet contemplation if the need arises? So you're reasonably well placed in a smaller house and garden like that. Or are you C, in a very small flat or a small house with not much in the way of outside space, maybe just a balcony? So again, would you put yourself in A, B or C there from the point of view of the actual living conditions? So what about your family? Are you A, part of a large extended family which has grown-up children of your own and grandchildren, with all of whom you have a good and close and loving relationship? So are you a big happy family with lots of people in it? Or are you B, you have a small family group, including children and grandchildren, with all of whom you're in touch and able to communicate? So not such a massive family, but still enough of a family that you get on well with and you have good communications with. Or C, you have no grandchildren and your offspring are fairly scattered, but you're still in touch, although not as close as perhaps you'd like. Or D, lockdown has thrown up some unresolved family tensions, so communication has been challenging with some family members in recent weeks. So have you had some niggles with some of those people in your family that's made it uncomfortable, lockdown uncomfortable? So the next are questions about your social circle. Are you A, a member of several clubs, societies and groups for various interests, and you've managed to use Zoom meetings to keep up with several of these groups despite social distancing, so you're still very much in touch with your social circle? Or are you B, you belong to a couple of groups and contact has been sporadic, but you've been reaching out to 1 or 2 people you're most friendly with and that's been nice? Or are you C, you belong to no local groups or clubs as you've never had the time, so you haven't really had those contacts to pursue? And what about your friendships? Are you A, a person who has many friends all over the world and the country from the past, all of whom you've been emailing and phoning since lockdown, which has given you a great chance to catch up with all of them? Or are you more B, you have a good group of friends and it's been fun to find novel ways to keep in touch and socialise virtually? Or C, you don't have many close friends, but the one or two that matter to you have been in touch. So how has the contact with friends been going? Next, your health. Are you A, really well and have never had any serious health concerns? Are you B, you have one serious health problem in the past couple of years, but you're fine at the moment? Or are you C, you have a chronic health problem and need frequent medical support, and the virus has scared you very much and you're now reluctant to either go out or to bother your MP, and you certainly wouldn't go into hospital if you had a problem. So how concerned are you about your health, from almost no concern to very concerned, A, B or C? Next, your wellbeing and lifestyle. Are you A, you've been very careful since lockdown to watch your weight and monitor your alcohol intake? B, you've gained 2 or 3 pounds and had an extra glass of wine or two, but you don't feel that it's getting out of control and you're just quite philosophical about that. Or C, you felt so low and anxious that food and alcohol have been your main way of coping. Never mind, when this is all over, you can get back to Slimming World and start being more careful with alcohol intake. So it could be food or alcohol, those questions. So it's really, have you got it fully under control, partially under control, or not at all under control? Exercise levels. A, you have a daily set of targets for 10,000 steps and other aerobic exercise, maybe on your little pink exercise bike, and you've stuck to it religiously, and you're also doing Joe Wicks most days. B, you've managed 4 to 5 exercise sessions every week and tried to get out for a daily walk, so you've had moderate exercise. Or C, you've just felt so low that you've indulged your inner couch potato, so you've just not bothered really. Next, your self-esteem. Do you get up every day, shower, dress in something nice, spray on your favourite perfume and make your face up, which instantly makes you feel better and more normal? B, you're more relaxed than usual about clothes and makeup, but it's nice to have a break from caring too much about your looks. However, for the family Zoom calls, you do make a bit more of an effort, put on a bit of lippy maybe. Or C, have you just thrown in the towel and say, who cares what I look like? My husband hasn't really looked at me in years and I really can't be bothered with all that faff right now. Next, and finally, your attitude to time during lockdown. Are you thinking, wow, this is the perfect opportunity for me to get on top of all those things I never get around to, like tidying cupboards, sorting out my paperwork and getting the garden under control? Or are you thinking more, B, I want to use this time constructively to maybe learn something new and acquire a new skill? So you're not too worried about the mundane things. You want to go on to perhaps loftier and higher things, and you're actually starting to learn, Russian for the first time. Or C, time is the enemy. It's all dragging on with no end in sight. I'm crawling up the walls in frustration every day. So how do you feel about time during lockdown? So my evaluation of those is that if you're mostly A's, then clearly you are in a great position and best place to enjoy and benefit from lockdown, believe it or not, to enrich your life, your relationships and your personal development. Are you a mix of A's and B's? So lockdown is fine for you and you'll be able to cope with the long haul if needs be. Are you mostly B's? There are some minor irritations with lockdown and some frustrations, but you're quite sanguine about coping with the next few weeks. Are you a mix of B's and C's? You have some vulnerabilities and may find further extension or lockdown difficult. You may need a plan and a routine to help you. Or are you mostly C's? You're at great risk of serious mental ill health and physical ill health as well. So it might be good to seek help or think what you might need to do to make your situation more bearable. If you are mostly C's and the odd, I know there's a couple of D's in there, then you'd be the kind of people that I'd be most concerned about, because these are people that are finding social isolation unbelievably hard, and it's making them literally physically and mentally unwell. So, what are you? How are you dealing with it? And that was, it wasn't meant to be deadly serious. I'm not a doctor and I'm not a psychiatrist, but it was meant to be helpful in allowing you to evaluate perhaps just how well you're doing, because I think I'm mostly a sort of mixture of, I think I'm mostly B's, I think, throughout that. I'm okay most of the time, and every now and again I think, oh gosh, this really is quite difficult. So I don't think I need help, and I don't think I need to worry too much at the moment. But who knows, after a few more weeks, where I'm going to be, and maybe at that point I'll do another video. We can all compare notes at that point. I was listening to the radio, as I often do, and I heard a very nice bit from an intensive care doctor, and he was saying that they are definitely seeing the impact now of the social isolation measures. Now, we go out every Thursday and we clap the NHS, but I think we all should give ourselves a round of applause right now, because it's the very reason that those numbers are dropping of cases of COVID-19 going into the hospitals is because of what we're doing. And we must congratulate ourselves for that. We really must. Lockdown is tough for some people more than others, as I've just tried to point out, but doing it is absolutely vital, and it's working. Now, to end on a very much lighter note, I do love Pam Ayres, and she's written a little very short poem in response to Donald Trump's musing on the fact that injecting ourselves with some disinfectant or ingesting it might be a good way to stop this virus, because the virus is killed within minutes when it comes into contact with a nice bottle of Dettol. Clearly not something that maybe we should all take too seriously, but this is what Pam Ayres has said, and I think this is brilliant. At last, we have a cure for all, ailments large and ailments small. Good health is not beyond my reach if I inject myself with bleach. Radiant I'll prance along, every trace of limescale gone, with disinfectant as my friend. Like him, I'm clean around the bend. So there you go. I do think that's brilliant fun. So thank you very much for listening. KBO, no choice, just got to do it. And thank you very much for joining me again. I'm back tomorrow. I think tomorrow I'm going to wear my wig for you and have some considerations about hair, particularly thinning hair, hair worries, hair concerns, hair length, and some things around that I hope you're going to enjoy. So I shall look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.